These unbelievable true crime cases remain unsolved years and even decades later. The true stories behind these crimes might eventually be solved much later, but until then, the most unexpected endings of all are those which cannot be explained by baffled experts. Number 5. This is the true story of 24-year-old Erin Marie Gilbert, who moved from San Francisco to Alaska in 1994 to be with her sister. Erin worked as a nanny and hoped to enroll at a local cosmetology school. Her bright future would be cut short in what has become one of Alaska's strangest true crime stories. When not working as a nanny, Erin was known to frequent Chilkoot Charlie's bar in Anchorage. On the evening of June 30th, 1995, she bumped into a man named David for a second time and hit it off. The pair agreed to have a date at the annual Girdwood Forest Fair the next day. Their date went well until they tried to leave the fair in David's car. He had accidentally left his headlights on the whole time and drained the battery. Not wanting the date to end, David told Erin to wait for him while he walked to his nearby friend's house for help. It was about 6 in the evening. If David's story was true, he would later tell crime investigators that he had gotten lost for 2 hours trying to find his friend's house. By the time he returned, Erin was completely missing, nowhere to be found. He told criminal detectives that he'd spent most of the night looking for his disappeared date before going home. The next morning, David called Erin's sister, Stephanie, who said that Erin had not returned the previous night. David and Stephanie immediately alerted the Alaska State Troopers to the sudden and mysterious disappearance of Erin Marie Gilbert. Investigators hoped the missing person could be found in the forest, but it was as if she had vanished without a trace into thin air. David was interviewed as a person of interest, but investigators did not believe he was involved in the mysterious missing person case, which remains unsolved to this day, because there's no evidence of foul play. With that said, many in the true crime community find it highly unbelievable for David not to be somehow involved in Erin's strange disappearance. Others think an unknown person could have done it while David was away, or that she voluntarily wandered off into the wilderness. The strange circumstances behind this mystery have not deterred Stephanie from seeking justice decades later. She has vowed to never stop asking what happened to her missing sister until the case is finally solved. Anyone with information about this unsolved case is asked to contact Malia Miller of the Alaska State Troopers at 907-269-5511, quoting case number 9500-41316. Number 4. By 1985, Dottie and Joel Kaler had remained in a troubled marriage for about 12 years, one that was fraught with physical altercations and heading towards divorce. The two shared a home in Concord, California, where Dottie was left alone most of the time while Joel worked out of town. Agoraphobia, which can include the fear of leaving one's home, had taken over her life, which made it almost impossible to keep a job. Dottie's fear of public places makes her mysterious disappearance all the more difficult to explain. After examining the clues, law enforcement experts are still left puzzled by this strange but true crime story. When Joel was offered a new job in Utah, Dottie made it abundantly clear that she wanted to stay in Concord. Shortly afterwards, 49-year-old Dottie would vanish that year in 1985. It wasn't until 5 days later that the mysterious disappearance of Dottie's was reported and a missing person case was opened. Joel told criminal detectives that he had no idea what happened to his wife on June 12th, the day she went missing. He had dropped her off at the Pleasant Hill train station so that she could catch a train to meet a friend. If his story was true, crime investigators learned that he never actually wanted her to get on the train. He recalled seeing her disappear around the corner towards the train, and so he left. Concord police detectives discovered that on the morning after she vanished, Joel had returned to the train station for his work commute. He was surprised to find Dottie's car in the parking lot of the train station. What's more, he thought that it was especially strange to find her purse had been left inside of the car. For days, he kept leaving notes on her windshield asking his missing wife to contact him. A deeper investigation led to a disturbing backstory. Jewel had been engaged to a coworker since late 1984. Dottie, meanwhile, had been trying to gain her independence from her controlling husband. She had recently deposited a check into her bank account and had also turned to a women's refuge program for educational workshop courses. No one can explain exactly how Dottie's vehicle had been left behind at the train station. The only piece of evidence left behind was Dottie's purse. Investigators are unsure whether she even boarded the train. Multiple searches have been conducted without success. Jewel was considered a suspect in her mysterious disappearance. Over the years, Jewel has changed the story given to crime detectives. However, there's never been enough evidence and no criminal confession. Dottie's case is both baffling and disturbing, and investigators continue to search for the true story behind this unsolved crime. Anyone with information is asked to contact Brandon Ritchie of the Concord Police Department at 925-671-5074, quoting case number 8512575. Number 3. Life for 24-year-old James Kimball was difficult in the 1980s after being diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. When his condition became too much for him and his family to manage, James moved into a halfway house that was a short distance away in Maywood, Illinois. In April of 1993, James went to see his family in Oak Park, Illinois for an Easter visit, just as he had done every year. However, this evening would lead to one of Illinois' most chilling unsolved cases ever. On the afternoon of April 13th, James became visibly angry when the stereo stopped working. The situation became very tense. He then announced he was going for a walk to clear his mind. Hours later, his family reported him as a missing person to the Maywood Police Department and waited for him to be found, thinking it would possibly take days or even weeks at the most. They had no idea that this would become an unsolved disappearance that cannot be explained years later. The halfway home told investigators that he had not come back, nor did he attempt to make contact with other friends or family. Despite an extensive search, James has never been found and appears to have vanished without a trace except for a single possible missing person sighting. Officers in South Bend, Indiana, believed that they may have spotted James in March of 1994, almost a year after he disappeared. According to their strange story, they had conducted a routine criminal investigation on a person of interest who they claimed was disoriented at the side of the road. As the encounter goes, police let him loose after he passed a sobriety test. It wasn't until months later that officers realized the young man they had stopped bore a striking resemblance to the missing person known as James Kimball, a sighting that has never been confirmed. There have been no additional sightings of James since 1994, and investigators believe that his strange disappearance likely resulted from criminal foul play. Anyone with missing information that can help see this unsolved case get solved is asked to contact the Maywood Police Department at 708-450-4470, quoting case number 936914. Number 2. The truly unbelievable story of 37-year-old mother of 3, April Jean Bailey, is one of the most mysterious missing person cases in recent years. Few details have been made publicly available in April's unsolved case, only adding to the mystery. Her friends and family can be found at the forefront of the investigation, doing their best to keep her case from going cold. On January 15, 2020, April stepped out of her Nashua, New Hampshire apartment to take out the trash and never returned. An hour later, her worried family reported her strange disappearance to investigators in a case which has been unsolved ever since. To find out what was true, crime investigators listened to stories from her family and discovered that she was last seen wearing a jacket, jogging bottoms, and slippers. The Nashua Police Department found that April had left behind her purse, phone, and other personal items. All of this indicated that she was going to be stepping out for a brief moment. From the onset, April's disappearance has baffled investigators. FBI special agents had joined the crime investigation by mid-2021. According to the FBI, April knew people in Boston, Massachusetts, and Glens Falls, New York. Multiple searches have been conducted in these areas. They've also searched a body of water close to her apartment in Nashua. Unbelievably, no sign of April has ever been found, and her family and friends are desperate to find out what happened to her while taking out the trash. Years later, detectives from the FBI and the Nashua Police Department will only comment that April's unsolved disappearance is being treated as suspicious. Anyone with information on her unsolved missing person case is asked to contact the FBI's Boston office at 857-386-2000. Number 1. Denise Flume was 18 years old and had been accepted into the microbiology program at the Miami University in Ohio. When not studying, Denise could often be found running or playing basketball. Everyone could tell that Denise was a fearless and hard-working young woman. However, she would soon become the center of a disturbing true crime story on March 28, 1986. Denise left her home in Connersville, Indiana, to find a bag she had accidentally left at a nearby farm where she had been partying at a bonfire the night before. She had called the owner of the farm beforehand to let him know that she was heading out there for her stuff. However, as the strange but true story goes, Denise would mysteriously disappear before she could collect her bag. Crime detectives would soon discover that there was a more disturbing backstory to this case. On that day, Denise had fearfully pleaded with her sister to go with her to the farm, which her sister found extremely out of character, as Denise was known for having a remarkable sense of bravery. The day after she vanished, March 29th, Denise's family received bad news. Her car was found abandoned 3 miles from the farmland she was supposed to be visiting. The family reported the strange disappearance of Denise, and a subsequent forensic examination of the car was performed. Investigators found no signs of a struggle, and very little potential crime scene evidence was ever collected from the car. Multiple searches were conducted for Denise in the surrounding areas, but a body was never found. It was as if she simply disappeared into thin air. In 2020, her ex-boyfriend, Sean McClung, was arrested and charged with her mysterious disappearance. He passed away before he could stand a criminal trial. As such, there have been no convictions in Denise's disappearance, and very little evidence to draw leads from. Crime detectives believe that someone in the local community of Connersville knows more about Denise's untold story, and they are appealing to anyone who can help explain what has happened to her. Anyone with missing information is asked to contact the Fayette County Sheriff's Office at 765-825-1110. Quoting case number 04004-055. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.